Neon lights are one of the best parts of a night out in the city. At a party, walking down the street after happy hour, or being outside of your home for whatever reason, spotting a neon sign can literally brighten up your evening. And when they're really glowing in the dark, it makes you wonder if there are tiny ant-men holding torches inside the bulb. Well, the reality is way less exciting than that. It's a cool fact that the brightness in neon lights is caused by gases. While tinkering with things like scientists do, William Ramsay and M.W. Travers discovered three noble gases in 1898. And these gases were neon, get it? Xenon, and krypton. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? We'll come back to that in just a little bit. Anyway, to spare you the chemistry behind the cool stuff, let's break down the process. When an electric current passes through any of these gases, electrons get absorbed by the atoms and produce the lights that we see as any neon color. When in contact with electricity, neon produces red-colored light. Xenon is gray or blue, and krypton is green. Sounds familiar, and it's green. Now, what does that remind us of? Stick around to find out. Welcome back to Bite Size Life. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay updated with more great videos like this. Krypton, as in kryptonite? It's a bird, it's a plane, it's… you know. A man with superhuman strength, superhero flying abilities, and weakness to a certain green rock. That's where we've heard about kryptonite. While it's interesting to think about the possibility of Superman's biggest weaknesses as the same thing that lights up fun signs, they aren't the same. Kryptonite and the planet Krypton are entirely fictional, but the krypton gas is very real. Unlike helium that you can inhale from balloons to get a
squeaky high pitch in your voice,
or liquid nitrogen that can get you a chill drink in a matter of seconds, krypton is a lot harder to access. It is one of the rarest gases in the Earth's atmosphere, and its effect on the human body is nothing like a cool party trick. Krypton is an element in the air that occupies about 0.000108 to 0.000114% of the Earth's atmosphere. Compared to nitrogen's 78% and oxygen with 21%, krypton is really rare. But can you imagine what would happen if your head got stuck in a giant light bulb filled with krypton? Like an astronaut's helmet, but all that's coming in through the tank is krypton, not oxygen. Wait, why are you alone in this scenario? No, scrap that. We constantly talk about taking a breath, needing a breather, or losing our breaths. But how much do we really know about the air we breathe in? Or what happens when we lose it? Well, stick with me. What if krypton replaced oxygen for 1 minute? Human beings need to breathe in oxygen to survive, and if you don't believe me, try to hold your breath for the rest of this video. No, don't do that. Unless you can? Anyway, back to the question. What if krypton replaced oxygen for 1 minute? First off, we won't all flinch in pain like Superman when exposed to kryptonite. In the very first few seconds, though, you're going to feel a certain stiffness in the air because of the lack of balance in the elements, and you may start to wonder if someone forgot to open a window. Somewhere in the middle of the confusion, you'll realize that breathing is a little bit harder because you're exhaling rightly, but inhaling feels so wrong that you don't want to do it anymore. But then you have to because your body needs air. Except the air doesn't feel like air anymore. It's like you're buried under the covers, and there are 10,000 blankets on your head. You can't feel any part of your face, and soon your throat starts closing up because what you're inhaling isn't air, and your chest is tightening. Your lips may start turning blue, and when you look around, there are people fainting everywhere. Others have nosebleeds, cough fits, and those who are still moving are struggling to find their balance. It's pure chaos. And none of it is because of krypton. Well, not directly. Whiplash? But yeah, that's the absolute truth. The chest tightening, confusion, nosebleed, hoarseness, and slowed heart rate all point at one thing: the lack of oxygen. So you're probably wondering, what is this roundabout explanation? It isn't krypton, but we already said that the lack of oxygen is because of the krypton? Did I inhale some krypton before starting the video? Clog your bleeding nose with some tissue and let's break it down. Krypton is an inert gas, which is basically science talk for it does not react to anything. Krypton alone cannot harm the human body, so if you had your head in the giant light bulb or astronaut helmet filled with krypton, you'd have been completely alright if you came up for air. The reason for the chaotic situation we described isn't the krypton present in the atmosphere. It's the lack of the oxygen which we need to come up for air, also known as asphyxiation. Asphyxiation, or asphyxia, is the condition when the human body is not getting a sufficient amount of oxygen that it needs to keep itself working in the right way. Aside from helping your heart pump blood, oxygen also helps with brain functioning. If the brain does not get enough oxygen, it causes a loss of consciousness and limited ability to use the senses correctly, so vision will get blurry and hearing will be impaired. Basically, chaos. If krypton replaced the oxygen in the air, it'd become a simple asphyxiant. Asphyxiant gases are substances that lead to asphyxiation when they're present in higher concentrations than oxygen. While they could result in suffocation and its symptoms, they're typically non-toxic or minimally toxic. They only mean trouble in the absence of oxygen in the air. So, while krypton, as a simple asphyxiant, will lead to suffocation and the other side effects of asphyxiation because of the oxygen displacement, it does not actually have the components to cause harm. Alone, and in the right percentage when compared to oxygen, krypton can't lead to any type of damage or suffocation. However, when krypton replaces oxygen, the brain and body experience the symptoms of asphyxiation. The symptoms include dizziness, nausea, vomiting, and loss of consciousness. Any of these symptoms may lead to an error in judgment, which could result in more dangerous outcomes like an injury to self and others, and in very horrible cases, death. But that's only going to happen if the krypton-oxygen exchange lasts for a few minutes and the krypton concentration in the air is about 75%. For the context of this video though, replacing oxygen with krypton for 1 minute is not going to result in any fatal outcomes. In fact, the harmful results could be very minimal if no one wreaks havoc while struggling to breathe. Okay, maybe that's a bit too far-fetched. Human beings are a very chaotic lot. But the point is, no real damage to the health or the Earth will occur if krypton replaced oxygen for 1 minute. The average person can hold their breath for a minute, so a lot of people will simply glide through the krypton minute with the only side effects being a gasp at the end of the minute and a racing heart for the next few seconds. However, for people with asthma, allergies, and other breathing-related problems, that single minute might seem like a longer period and cause some slightly more serious issues. But the bottom line is, there is no permanent damage or impairment as a result of krypton in the air. It'd be the equivalent of running a quarter mile, really fast while wearing cowboy boots. Super uncomfortable, minimal pain in your joints, a woozy head, and a racing heart. But no lifelong damage to your organs or any other major medical damage. So, if krypton replaced oxygen for 1 minute, a lot of people would be alright. They might need a few minutes to regain control of their breathing and regulate their heart rates, but it wouldn't leave a battle scar behind. Just the tale of a strange pressure in the air. If krypton replaced oxygen for 10 minutes though, the outcome would be very different. Asphyxiation would lead to a lot of fainting, seizures, and a truly messy situation. But no need for that gory image. Krypton is a super rare chemical element, so chances of that ever occurring are slim to none. But just in case you're ever having an argument with a science nerd and need some hard facts to prove your point, there you go. If krypton replaced oxygen for 1 minute, the world would be alright. Just slightly woozy and gasping for air. Thanks for watching this video. Now you know what happens if krypton replaced oxygen for a minute. You can check out other cool video topics we cover on our channel. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, drop a comment, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when we release our latest videos. Until next time. I feel a little lightheaded after that one. Oh boy.